everyone, welcome back to another episode of Animal, and I'm coming here to you to talk about a new movie that's out from Shinkai Makoto-sensei. If you don't know who that is, Shinkai Makoto-sensei is the creator for some of the best-selling films, not Spirited Away, but Your Name. Along with Your Name, he has also released Weathering With You that came out in 2019-2020, and he's back with a brand new release called Suzume no Tojimari. Today I'm going to be doing a brief review on Suzume for short, since that's how it's being marketed in America, and let you know whether it's worth your time to watch or not. Before we dive into the review on Suzume, here's some quick facts on Suzume and how it relates to Shinkai Sensei's film. If you weren't aware, Your Name, which is one of the highest grossing films in Japan history, along with Weathering With You, is actually a trilogy that Shinkai Sensei has created along with Suzume, which is the completed movie for this trilogy. He has created it in respect to, or in inspiration of, the 2011 earthquake that largely impacted Eastern Japan. This earthquake plus tsunami killed approximately 2,000 people. So here are some things to keep in mind as you do watch Suzume. Now, without further ado, let's dive into it. Start desu! So before I dive into my review, here's a quick synopsis on what Suzume is about. Suzume, which is about our main character Suzume, removes this talisman that essentially helps protect Japan from the after ever. The after ever is basically a gateway or multiple gateways to another dimension where the dead go after they pass away and where other gods and mystical beasts live. With the removal of this talisman though, Japan and people who live in Japan are now at risk of losing their lives, as a beast that comes from this realm threatens to come out and create decimating and catastrophic earthquakes that could cost countless lives. And because of that, Suzume, and plus now her companion Sota, must travel through Japan, road trip style, to prevent these doors from opening and to prevent essentially the loss of all these lives in all these different areas. Here's what I enjoyed about the plot and the storyline. The action started almost immediately. Maybe less than 5 minutes in, we are introduced to the main dilemma of the story, which is interdimensional doors have been opened and Suzume and Sota have to travel the country in order to close them. Furthermore, we get introduced to Suzume's backstory just a little bit, as well as Sota's backstory, since they're both our main characters. In regards to Suzume, her story is well paced, as we get revealed different sides of her character or her life or her past through each and every city that she travels to in an attempt to close a door/gateway that could threaten the lives of people in those cities. The action scenes are also really dynamic and beautifully animated, to the point that I went into the movie theater thinking I was going to watch a romance, but came out feeling like, oh, this was a fantastic action movie, and quite drastically different from Your Name and Weathering With You, which are heavily emphasized on human connection and romance to some extent. But within this movie, Shinkai Sensei takes a very different approach, where human connection is still displayed, but it's not as heavily displayed as it was in his previous movies within this trilogy, as well as just the action taking the main scene, because it just didn't feel like a romance human connection movie that I thought it would be, considering that this is Shinkai Sensei that was creating it. But I will say that if you went in there looking for a romance, you will still catch that. However, the romance falls a little bit flat for me, because the person who she falls in love with, Suzume, is Sota. Sota, for the entire duration of the movie, is actually made to be a chair. While him as a chair was what made the movie really comedic and also added to the thrilling, action-packed scenes that we were given throughout Suzume, it also devoids us of, okay, when did Suzume and Sota build this romantic connection? Because he was a chair the whole time. I wasn't feeling the feels. When did they catch the feels? Aside from the fact that Sota is a gorgeous character, which, let me just pause real quick to vent. I feel like Suzume's trailers catfished me, because I thought I was going to be seeing a whole romance between Sota and Suzume while preventing whatever world disaster was coming, but instead I got a lot of comedic scenes between a cat, a chair, and a teenage girl. And Sota, as a man, was probably seen for 15 minutes of the 2-hour runtime. But I would say that the messaging seems a little bit different, whereas you're seeking more of this human connection element messaging between other people. in his other films, Shinkai Sensei almost goes on to put in a messaging that I don't know whether is intentional or not, but in the film, Suzume goes on this journey, and on this journey, she overcomes like all sorts of emotional obstacles as well that have been weighing on her since the death of her mom 12 years prior. So just holding on to these feelings and emotions, at the end of the film, she's able to resolve it in this interdimensional space where she actually ends up meeting her younger self. And in meeting her younger self, she is able to come to terms with everything that has happened to her and everything that she has gone through. So she's able to kind of find closure on this journey and throughout this journey. And things do get better through human connection. So I would say that the human connection messaging is still there. It's just very loosely connected, and it's probably something that we're not seeing throughout the movie in a heavier sense, but is emphasized at the end when Suzume realizes that her life was able to get back on track despite the loss of her mother and the loss of her entire hometown, with the help of her aunt taking her in and with meeting Sota. Even though, again, like I said, I don't know where the love and the romance in this aspect came from, because he was a chair for 97% of the movie. So if you haven't seen Suzume yet, please go check it out. It is already in theaters. Mostly action, adventure type of movie, so don't go in there expecting a lot of romance. And definitely go watch it, because I think honestly it's fantastic, and arguably I found it a lot more interesting than Weathering with You. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I'd appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, or share, so let me know whether you've enjoyed this video or not. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, go watch Suzume. It's in theaters now, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye!